welcome to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacinta, and this is my channel about cross stitch, knitting, quilting, sewing, and any other crafty endeavors that I happen to get up to. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I just want to open up this episode with a massive thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed and watched and commented on my last video. I have had a massive increase in subscribers since my last video, and I'm not super close, but I am now like less than 100 away from 1,000 subscribers. So that is super, super exciting. So if you are somebody who is watching and you have not hit subscribe yet, then please consider doing so. That would mean a lot to me. I think pretty much all the other Flosstubers out there, I'm not doing this to like achieve a certain level of like social media fame or anything like that, but yeah, it is kind of nice to hit that like nice big round number. But yeah, I'm mostly just doing this to join the community and meet other people that are interested in the same things as me and share what I love doing with other people. But it has been really, really fun to kind of see the numbers increase and see how many people I've met, and a lot of people have commented and subscribed and reached out to me, and I've just met so many amazing people through here. So thank y'all so much for joining me. And yeah, so I'm gonna jump right into it. So I have in this episode, I've got a fully finished object, I've got some whips, I've got I have a giveaway announcement, I'm looking down here at my pile so I can remember what I have. I've got a little bit of quilting as well as a little bit of quilting haul, which I have not shown quilting in a while. And then I also have a little bit of knitting. So I am going to just jump right into it. So my fully finished object is something that if you've watched me the last couple episodes, you will have seen that I finished this. And that is this adorable little finish. This is from a Etsy shop that is no longer open, unfortunately. It was called Wanderling Stitches, and this is Hare and Thistle. And this was my project that I started for the Mighty Wee Nation SAL, which is a SAL that is hosted by Amanda of Alba Stitcher. And here it is. It's such a cute pattern. You can see these thistles. There's a little bit of back stitch on them. I love it. And I stitched this with all the call for floss on 32 count extra U design in Grandma's slip. And I backed it with this really, really cute thistle fabric that is from a collection. It's from Lewis and Irene, and it's called Celtic Dreams. Unfortunately, this fabric collection is no longer being created. However, they have another very similar fabric collection that is called Celtic Fairies, I believe, and that one I was able to buy like at Fat Quarter Shop this past summer, and so I would imagine Celtic Dreams is a bit harder to find. It's pretty much all secondary market at this point, but Celtic Fairies you probably still can find at some regular just primary sellers. So anyway, really cute thistle background, and I used this pom-pom trim that I got from Joann's, and as you can see, some of my points or my little curved edges are not super uniform, and I had the hardest time with this. There, that's a little bit fixed. I had the hardest time with this particular pom-pom trim. It was the like lip here where you can sew it into the pillow was super, super small. And I mean, I use a zipper foot because that's how I put on my pom-pom. Any of my trims, I use a zipper foot. And even using the zipper foot, it was very difficult. And then the pom-poms, I don't think you can see it from here, but the pom-poms kind of like laid over to one side a lot. And so it was very difficult to like get it in correctly and get I don't know, I just struggled. And so I have actually placed an order, not for this pillow's done, but I've placed an order for some Lady Dot Creates because everyone uses that stuff and it looks so good. And I've just decided that buying the sale stuff maybe is not the best way to go because I had a struggle with finishing this one. But overall, I do like how it looks. It's really cute. And I'm happy to have it setting out. So yes, very happy with that. And thank you to everybody that gave me finishing suggestions, both for hair and thistles and on my last video. I've got some really great finishing suggestions from people in my comments. So thank y'all who have given me finishing suggestions. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my whips. And I don't have any new starts. This time I have kind of been trying to focus on finishing some things. I do have a new start planned for the next the next couple weeks. I should be doing a new start, but all my stuff is not in for it yet. So I am going to wait to show you that until I get all my stuff in. But living in my handmade, this is my Me Made project bag that I actually made for the Mighty Wee Nation Sal. However, once I finished this one, I just had to put something else in it. And this is a pattern that I am stitching with my friend Sarah from Handmade by Sarah W. And it is Plumster Sampler's Bigfoot Bunch. And I am having so much fun with this one. I really thought it would be done by this episode, but I kind of made a mistake because normally I don't wait till the end to do my fill-in, and it's in the hoop because I was stitching on it. I try to put a few stitches on it every day, so I had it in the hoop. I was stitching on it this morning, and I just never took it out. But here it is, and I normally don't wait to do my fill-in till last, but I was just having so much fun outlining all these leaves that I just kept going and going. And then before I know it, all I had left basically was fill-in. And then I started getting bored doing the fill-in. And so I had to fill in a few things and then put it down and pick something else up and then fill in a few things. But I'm very motivated to get this done because I really, really want to finish it and have it up and displayed. So I'm stitching this on, I'm going to say mostly the called for. I think I used almost all the called for Fancy Floss and then most of the DMCs. If I didn't have something, I just kind of subbed like one color up or down or something that looks similar. I did make an inadvertent modification or customization, and that is these little flowers that are here. See, I stitched them in white. It's kind of hard to see. The center is supposed to be white, and the outside is supposed to be like a red color, like a reddish pink. I think I have it in here somewhere. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be this color, this like reddish pink color. And I just misread the pattern, I guess. I don't know. I just, for some reason, stitched them in the white. And so I did that. And when I realized that I had stitched them with the wrong color, I had already stitched all of them. And it was a lot of work to kind of stitch all these individual little, flowers. So I didn't want to rip it out. So then I decided that they would look better since they were white flowers have yellow centers. So I've just been going in with the color that I used for the bee. I've just been going in and filling in those yellow centers. So that's really the only change that I made on that. And this is on a 36 count Fiber on a Whim Milk and Honey. And I am stitching this 2/2. The pattern calls for you to stitch it 1/2. But I really, really love the coverage of 2/2 on 36 count. So I usually do 2/2 on 36 count unless there's some specific reason why I'm not. So yeah, so very happy with it. I'm hoping for it to be done soon. There is a little bit of 1/1 on here, which you do tint stitch. So very happy with that. And I would really like that to be finished. So my next whip I pulled out because I really wanted to have I was craving stitching on something really spring-like because it was getting close to Easter and I was seeing people stitching on all these cute little Easter stitches. And I was about to start something new, and then I thought, Jacinta, you have a spring stitch that you started at the beginning of the year that you haven't touched in like a month and a half or more. And that is Plum Street Samplers Spring Moon. And this was my New Year, New Start. My husband bought me this chart as well as the Vicki Clayton Silk conversion for Christmas. And so I had to start it as soon as possible. So I made it my New Year, New Start. And I had kind of just, I don't know, like just lost steam on it. I worked on it a whole lot at the beginning of the year. And then other projects just sort of took over. And then I decided to pull it back out. And I put it on my Q-snap. Because if something is on my Q-snap, then I will pick it up because it's less work to get it all kind of set up. And I have done a lot on this, I feel like. So this is my progress. I'm so impressed with my progress on this thing. So I finished the bunny on Easter. So on Easter, I finished up the bunny. I actually think I need to put in a couple stitches on his eye, or one stitch on his eyeball. But other than that, the bunny is done. I finished up the outline of the basket, and I went ahead and outlined the roof. And as you can see, I learned my lesson from Bigfoot Bunch. And last night, I actually started filling in the roof a little bit because this is a big roof. So from what I had seen, people who stitched this or the other kind of moon, Plum Street Samplers, Spring Moon, Summer Moon, whatever, they said do the house and the basket as soon as you can because they are big. So I did want to get started on this roof, but I'm having a lot of fun doing all of these little flowers, and they're so beautiful. So there's this, and this needle minder is from Flamingo Toes on Etsy. But I am stitching this on a 36 count fiber on a whim wheat. And like I said, I'm stitching this with the Vicki Clayton Silk conversion. So I will put a link to her site below, but this is what they kind of look like. I've been keeping them in floss away bags because that's just the easiest thing for me. Sorry about the glare, but they come in a little spools and they're beautiful. And this one I am actually stitching 1/2 on 36 count because that is how it is charted. Most Plum Streets I have found are charted 1/2 on 36 count. And I would like this to be a little bit more coverage. It's actually not looking that sparse on camera. I don't know. I like a really, really thick coverage. I know not everybody does. Some people like the prim look. I like this. I don't dislike it, but if I was just doing it on my own with like the Call for Floss, I probably would have done 2/2. But I've never used one of the Vicki Clayton conversions before, and I know that people say that they come with like more floss than you might need, but I didn't want to like run out by a lot because I just wasn't really sure how that'd work out with her dye lots and all those things. So I just went ahead and I'm doing it as charted. That way I can be sure that I have plenty of floss. And I do like how it is turning out. It's a little bit more prim, but I'm very happy with it. I do think it fits the style of the piece. So there's this one, and I love it. And I'm hopefully going to continue to focus on this through like April. Okay, so my next whip is Nora Corbett's Moon Glow. And this is my first Nora ever, but I'm already planning more. And I've got some like fluff in my eye. Here she is. And she's so beautiful. I've been mostly working on the blanket here. And I'm very, very happy with how it's looking. Now, I am using, my colors will look a little bit different if you're familiar with the actual chart. And that is because I'm using a conversion posted on Instagram by somebody. Her Instagram username is Cross Stitch Spells. And she converted most of this chart to the DMC variegateds. And so, like this one right here, the dark blue, that is one of the called for water lilies. And there's one other called for water lily that I haven't broken into yet. But all of the other colors, some of them are called for DNC, but like the pink, the orangish, some of the pinks up in here, and then this, the moon color, are all DMC variegateds. And I think it looks really good so far. And I thought it was a great way to save a little bit of money because the water lilies would have been very expensive. Now, that being said, I have loved stitching with water lilies so much that for future projects, I'm just going to shell out the money because I think it's worth it for the experience. And I will say, part of the reason why I pulled this out and was so motivated is because Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe, her and her sister have a channel, and they're also from Oklahoma, which is really fun. She is stitching this, and so I saw hers, and I was like, okay, I need to get mine out too. And she's doing hers all called for, and it looks so beautiful. I do like my colors too. Well, not my colors, but the colors that I borrowed from someone else as well. But hers is really beautiful. So the only thing I'm not sure about is this. So the moon, the DMC variegated that was suggested in this conversion is a lot more blue than the Karen water lilies that is used. And so on the pattern, the moon is pretty much just white. And so I'm a little bit concerned because mine looks very blue. And it's also blending into my fabric. On the conversion, on this final version of the conversion that I saw, once she put the beads on hers, it looked fine. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll just go ahead and put the beads on, see how I like it. And then if I still don't like it, take it out. But I am slightly considering ordering the Karen water lilies in this color and then ripping this out and redoing it. I don't know. Tell me what you think. What do you think I should do? Because I'm not... At first, I saw it and I was like, I'm fine. I'm happy with it. I like it. You know, it's variegated, whatever. But the more and more I see other people stitch this with the called for, the more I kind of am comparing mine to theirs. And I feel like maybe I like theirs better. So what would you do? Would you leave this? Because it was a lot. I mean, there's a lot of confetti stitching that I did here, y'all. Would you leave it or would you re-stitch it? What would you do? I'm very interested to know because it's a conundrum for me because I want to be happy with it. I really want to love it, but I also don't want to stitch all that. And the moon was the first thing I stitched. That was how I stitched it, and then I worked down until I could count to her hair and all that stuff. So I don't know. Let me know. Oh, and I'm stitching this on a 32 count fiber on a whim in the color mint, I believe. And I'm doing it on a 32 count because there are a lot of beads. The bead pack on this is quite hefty, and I wanted the beads to fit. And I do have the bead pack already. So and that's not even, there's quite a few beads. So that's my moon glow. Please let me know what you think I should do. Okay, so that actually is all of the whips that I worked on. Like I said, I didn't do a whole lot because I really wanted to focus on getting some good progress in rather than just a few stitches here, a few stitches there. So now I'm going to announce my giveaway. So what I was giving away last time was this project bag that I made, and I wanted to give it away to one of my wonderful viewers as a thank you. So I did the random comment picker like 2 minutes before I started recording, and the person who the random comment picker selected, the username is Quilt Cave Quilter 6952. So I will try to put that on the screen, but it is Quilt Cave Quilter 6952, And she actually says that she lives in Arkansas. So this does not have that far to travel because you're the state right next door. So that's fun. So Quilt Cave Quilter 6952, please. I will have my email below as well as my Instagram. So please either send me a DM on Instagram or email me, and I will get this out in the mail to you as soon as I'm able to. And thank you everybody who participated and played along and entered the giveaway. It was so much fun. I don't have a giveaway for this video just because I want to make sure that I have this one sent out before I commit myself to sending something else. But after I get this one sent out, I do want to start doing a couple more giveaways because it is really fun to make stuff and share it with y'all. And if I do end up hitting the 1,000 subscribers soon, then I will definitely be doing a big giveaway for that one because that'll be really exciting. So please, stay tuned to my channel for that. So that is all of the stitchy stuff. I'm going to talk really quick about quilting. And I've got a little bit of quilting haul, which okay, I see it down there. And then I'll talk about knitting as well. So my quilting is housed in this bin. This is from the Dollar Tree, and it's so cute. I don't know if you can see. It's got kind of like a pattern on top. These bins are amazing, and they're such a pretty color, and I've not seen them there since I got them a few years ago. I've not seen them since. So, very sad. But this is where I like to keep my sewing projects, especially my quilting projects, so they're all nice and contained. And I am working on a quilt for my daughter. And I actually started this quilt back in like December, but I did not show it to you because I was just cutting it out. And at that point, it was basically just different size squares of fabric. So it would have kind of been weird to show. But now I've started actually piecing the blocks, so I am working on it. So this is, I got a fat quarter bundle of it's a collection called Blossom and Grow by Studio E. And in the fat quarter bundle, you get a panel, and the panel has these squares that obviously are all like connected by like a border. So I saw this, so this is one that's really cute. It says Chase Your Dreams. And there's a whole bunch of different little squares. And I saw this, and it's like cute flowers, rainbow themed, and I knew that it would be perfect for my daughter. And my daughter has been asking me to make her a quilt or a blanket, and I knitted her a couple blankets when she was little, I think maybe one or two, but I haven't like sewn her a quilt. And so she really, really wanted me to sew her a quilt, and I had been planning to. So I did. Or I am working on it. So this is sort of a pattern that I'm making up. I don't have a pattern for it. Now I am using I don't know what it's called, like a graph chart thing. And I will link the one I'm using below, but I'm doing this as sawtooth stars because that's my favorite type of quilt block. And I felt like that would be a really good way to highlight this little inner square motif. And then my plan is to use the sawtooth stars and then put like sashing and cornerstones, and basically, yeah, make it a quilt. So here are my completed blocks. So I've done, I think 5. So here's one. And I will say, I discovered that these inner squares, like the border, this one doesn't look so bad, but the actual like drawn border is not it's not a real square. And I think that's maybe because it's supposed to be like hand drawn and childlike looking and everything. But you can kind of see on some of these that I basically at first tried to cut like a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch or something away from this line. And then I realized that I was not going to get them square that way. So I just did the best I could, and it'll be fine. So this is, I think, the most recent one that I made. And I did have to buy a bit more of the background fabric just because of the way that it worked out, the way the colors worked out for this. And again, I'm not using a pattern, so I couldn't really like buy with a plan to make something, so it's fine. And then here's another one. This one you can really see, like, one of these borders is much thinner than the other, but it wasn't square, so I couldn't. There was no going back once I started cutting. And then here's another one, and this is like probably my favorite inner square, and I know my daughter is gonna love this. So here's another one, and then a couple of these, not this one, this one's probably my favorite one. It's so cute. A couple of these I made a mistake on because I forgot how to make. I forgot how to make sawtooth stars. And again, I had like a little cutting chart and it had some basic instructions. I will link my cutting chart below. Basically what I did was I measured this inner square and how big it was going to be. And then I just plugged that number into the chart, and then that told me how big to cut everything else. But as I was putting it together, I forgot for some reason that I needed to leave plenty of space on my outer points so that when I put the sashing on, like attach this to something else, that there would still be pointy points. And so the first two that I did, you may see, this one's not that bad actually. There's like one side where it's not, you can see like on this side, my points are going to probably get cut. Well, I don't know. They might get cut off. And then on this one for sure, maybe one of my points will get cut off. Anyway, I have a couple where my points might get a little bit cut off. I'm going to do what I can. That one's actually not as bad. But what happened was, I think when I was trimming down my flying geese, I didn't trim them down the right way or something. And then I had already squared up my block and everything. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm going to need to attach this to something else. So now that I've remembered that, I am accounting for it. I'm hoping it looks fine. I'm trying not to kick myself too much over it. But I feel like quilting is the thing that I do that I'm the least confident in. And I've started like 3 quilts in the last several years and finished none of them because I get really stressed out about it wanting to be absolutely perfect and all of that. And so then I don't do it, or I get really overambitious. So I started 2 sampler quilts that I don't have time to like actually dedicate myself to. So I am, oh, it's this one. It's this one that's going to get the points cut off. Yeah. Those are going to be real blunt points right there. Anyway, so I'm just trying to live with it. Obviously, I'm not trying to be careless and make mistakes, but I also feel like a finished quilt is better than a perfect quilt that never gets made. So that is my plan. Again, I have 5 of these. I have 1 in progress. The other night I had time to sew my flying geese and trim them down. And then I just need to put it all together. So I've kind of been like, most weeknights I spend about 20-30 minutes sewing, which is usually enough to get like 1 block and part of another one completed before I just kind of get tired and want to go do other things. So I really want to get that quilt done soon, and I'm very excited about it. So related to quilting, I did pick up some quilting haul from Fat Quarter Shop. So what happened was that I don't know, please tell me that someone else does this, but I like to just like do dream projects where I go online and I just window shop and I think about the projects that I'll make that I probably will never make and plan them all out, like what fabrics I'd use and what pattern and all that stuff. And so I was just doing that, but then I came across some stuff that I really wanted to have. So I remembered when I was browsing Fat Quarter Shop that Katie of So Tattered had shared these, or shared a project made with these, and it's called a Jolly Bar. And it's a 5 by 10 like rectangle stack of fabric. And I think only Fat Quarter Shop has these. And they come with a free quilt pattern. And this was very reasonably priced. I think this was like $20 maybe. My invoice is over there. It was very reasonably priced, especially considering you get the quilt pattern and all that. And when you go on Fat Quarter Shop, it tells you what pattern it comes with, and it tells you what that pattern requires. Like how most of them only require one of these Jolly Bars. Some of them require 2 Jolly Bars, and then it tells you how much background and backing and all that stuff. So I picked up this one. This is the Bountiful Blooms by Sherry and Chelsea, and it's really cute. I would show you all the fabrics, but I don't want to take this apart, but you can kind of see the selection of the colors. And then this is the Pinwheel Surprise Quilt, which is what it comes with. And so as I mentioned, I have started a few sampler quilts. I've started a few quilts that have a lot of intricate piecing, and I just really want to work on some quilts that are less intensive, and I can just sew like squares and get it done in like a weekend or a couple weeks and have something to show for it. And so I felt like this pattern, it's not just a regular 4-patch because it does have the pinwheel. So it has a few pinwheels, and then it looks like besides that, it's just a 4-patch. And so I don't know if that's showing up through glare. So anyway, when I finish my daughter's quilt, I'm hoping I can work on this. Maybe this will be a project that I tackle this summer, and I can just spend a couple days quilting and get it done and feel really good and accomplished. That's my goal. I need like a palette cleanser quilt that makes me feel good about quilting, because this Sawtooth Star quilt has been a little bit that for me, and it's made me feel like I am excited about quilting again, whereas I have several sampler quilts that I still love. I still want to get them done, but it's sort of an overwhelming task to pull them out and work on. And then, because I was already putting in an order to Fat Quarter Shop, I decided to pick up this teeny adorable little mini charm pack of the Threads That Bind from Blackbird Designs, because I would like to make a project bag out of it. So that is my quilting haul. I don't have any cross stitch haul yet. I have bought some things, but they have not arrived in the mail yet. So probably next time I'll have some haul for you if it's not new starts by then. So that's my quilting, and I'm going to show you a little bit of knitting. So one project that I started this is my Christmas Eve cast on, and I have been trying to work on this. I've been enjoying myself. Of course, I'm midway through a row, but it is my habitation throw. This is a habitation throw as well. This was made out of mini skeins from my 2019 Sweet Sparrow Yarns Advent Calendar. So I made this. I would pull it off of here, but I think it's, yeah, I don't want to risk it coming down. But anyway, it's a pattern by Helen Stewart, and it's a really fun pattern. And so this past year, I got a mini skein Advent Calendar from, it was, now I'm blanking on the name of the, I'll put it below. But I got a mini skein calendar, and this is it. I am halfway through a row. Did not realize that, but I've got 6 of them completed, and this is my cute little charm from Simply Serving. Stitch marker or progress keeper, and I really love this. Now these are Ruby and Roses. That's what it is. Ruby and Roses. Advent calendar. These are 20-gram skeins. So they're 20-gram. This one was a 10-gram one. So this one is going to be quite big, and I am absolutely fine with that because I'm very excited to have a nice big blanket. It's not going to be huge, but it'll be like bigger. This one is like definitely a 1-person lap blanket versus this one I think is going to be a little bit like more of like a, Like I can sit with my daughter under it or something like that. Okay. I also have a new cast on for knitting. It is housed in this knitting bag that I made for myself, knitting project bag. And this is a gift. I don't believe that the people that I'm making this for watch this at all. I don't think that they actually know that I have a channel. But a couple of our friends are having a baby this summer. And so I wanted to make them a little baby sweater. So here is my cast on. And I don't have the tag for this yarn. It's a Lion brand. It's a Lion brand yarn, and it's acrylic, and it's worsted weight. But I am knitting the Flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. And this is, if you are interested in knitting garments, I would recommend this 1000% for your first garment. And what I actually recommend you do if you want to start knitting garments is knit somebody you know a baby sweater first, because you sort of get to understand the construction of a knitted garment in miniature, and it's not as overwhelming, and there's not as many fit issues, right? Because they're kind of just like they're baby shaped, right? So you kind of get to practice like the construction, like raglan increases, like understanding how to like pick up for the sleeves and all of that stuff before you start on adult size garment. And this one is perfect because it's got sizes newborn all the way up to like adult sizes. So this is a pattern I would definitely recommend. So I'm going to be doing this one. I'm knitting the 6-month size because their baby is due in summer in Oklahoma when it's 100 billion degrees outside. And so obviously the baby is not going to need a sweater at that time, but when they're 6 months old in the winter, it'll be helpful to them. So this is where I am, and I'm doing my raglan increases right now. And I'm actually going to do stripes. So I'm modifying this pattern a couple ways. Number one, this pattern has a garter sleeve, which means there's a mixture, like basically you're alternating knitting and purling in a panel on the sleeves. And I took that out just because I find it fiddly with the stripes, because you have to make sure that you're changing colors when you're not purling, or you end up with like a weird line. And so I just took it out. But I would say if you're doing this for your first sweater, I would actually do this all one color and leave the garter rows in, because it makes it very easy. The way that Tin Can Knits did this is ingenious, because it makes it very easy to track which rows you're doing your increases on. So highly recommend leaving those in. I have done them before and they look really cute. I'm just leaving them out because I'm not really sure how I want to do the stripes yet. So it gives me some more options. And then this pattern does not come normally with stripes, but it's really easy to just add stripes into anything that you want. You just start knitting in another color when you feel like it. So I am going to be alternating it with this Knit Picks yarn. I think it's Knit Picks Bravo worsted, and it's in this like green color. This is not showing up, at least on my monitor, this is more of like it's a brighter green than it's showing up, but I think that that'll be really cute. And I'm doing this one because I think the stripes are adorable, and number two, because I did not have enough of this yarn by itself. I only had one ball and I would have been a little short. So if I stripe in this one, I should have enough yarn to complete the sweater. So that is that. And there's a couple options when it comes to the neckband, and they have one option where you can start knitting the like little neck ribbing immediately, or you can skip it and then pick up your stitches and add it later, which adds a little bit more structure to the neck. And I personally think that my bind off looks better than my cast on in rib, so I'm going to just pick up the ribbing and knit it later. Plus, because again, I'm going to be playing yarn chicken a little bit with this one, if I don't have enough of this, then I'll do the neckband in this, and that solves my problem. So that's kind of my thoughts on my knitting. And I know that there's quite a few people who watch Flosstube who are starting to get into knitting, so that's why I kind of try to provide a lot of information about my knitting, because I have been knitting for most of my life, basically. I've been knitting since I can pretty much remember. I think I learned to knit in maybe like first grade. So, all right, that is all that I have. I think this is a slightly shorter episode today, maybe not super short, but please make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. Check me out on Instagram to catch up with me in between floss tubes, and I hope that y'all have a fantastic few weeks.